I don't think terrorists really target one religion.
You had tweeted that very excited about the attacks of 26/11 launch event at 8 p.m. at Leopold Cafe tonight.
After 2 days, after the attack, he immediately reopened it because he just wanted to send a signal we don't want to be cowed down by the terrorist threats. There's one particular gentleman who ran off when the attack happened. He said he came back and said, Fazad, I came to finish my beer. I just love that spirit.
I believe the censors have passed the film with a UA certificate.
No,
it's with an A certificate, I said.
My whole intention, Faridoon, is to capture what happened between 9:30 and 1 o'clock on the night of 26/11. That's what the film focuses on for nearly
the entire surprise element. What,
not only a surprise
because after
element,
that the reality had set in.
Yeah.
We've had a Vishwarupan recently, and that had a lot of the entire hullabaloo and the controversy was created. Once you see the film, it's something which is
I haven't seen Vishwarupan, but I would say the difference is, Vishwarupan is a fictional film. I thought it was an incredible visual for me to see cops throwing stones, but they didn't have guns. What are they supposed to do? But in spite of that, as a cop, he responded, which is what I think commendable thing.
Apparently, you have sung a song in 26/11.
That's for the Telugu version.
That is breaking news. Gopal Varma that is in the Telugu version. Why not in the Hindi version?
I can't speak Hindi properly.
You can speak Hindi very well. Well, at the music launch of the attacks of 26/11 recently, Nana Patekar साहब said that after quite a while, Rampal Varma ने कुछ अच्छा बनाया है. So we are looking forward to that. We have with us Rampal Varma once again. A huge pleasure to have you back on Bollywood Hungama, Mr. Varma. Yeah. And you just went into a chuckle after Nana said
Nana,
yeah. But how does it feel? Do you feel happy or do you feel sad?
I don't know. That's an opinion. I guess he was quite taken aback with the subject and the way whatever the whole film turned out to be, and considering the amount of flack I've been receiving in the last few films, I guess it came as a pleasant surprise to him, to say the least. Yeah.
One more thing is there, Mr. Varma. You had tweeted that very excited about the attacks of 26/11 launch event at 8 p.m. at Leopold Cafe tonight, and it was retweeted by Sachin Kalbag, who's the editor of Midday, and he had written his 2 words that how sensitive. Somewhere when you're saying that very excited about the attacks of 26/11 launch event, you are excited in a different context altogether. But when the entire idea of 26/11 is attached, people have different sentiments. People look at it differently.
Fair enough. See, I also got certain negative comments on that. In fact, I think it is like a wrong choice of a word. I didn't mean it in the way it sounded. Right. For me, the fact that I've been working on this film for such a long time, for 3 years, and it just kind of marked that what I want to say and what I wanted to share about my feelings about the tragedy of 26/11, finally it has come to a point where I'm able to put it out. It was in that context I used the word. But basically I can understand someone getting offended or feeling it's insensitive, but that's not what I meant in the sense, If that's how I feel about it, I wouldn't be attempting to make such an emotionally moving film, if that was my true, point of it, right? So now the reason why I wanted to do it at Leopold is because Leopold owner Fazad told me after 2 days, after the attack, he immediately reopened it because he just wanted to send a signal we don't want to be cowed down by the terrorist threats.
Absolutely.
And there's one particular gentleman who ran off when the attack happened. He said he came back and said, Fazad, I came to finish my beer. I just love that spirit. That the fact that if you are scared, you're crying and you're in a corner, it's almost like you are playing into the hands of who's perpetrating that kind of an act. The so-called spirit and the resilience we talk about, I think that is very representative. So I thought it was very kind of apt that I should do the launch of that particular song, which almost becomes a thematic representation of 26/11 on that place.
And you basically try to blend both religions. So that is
that's the whole idea. Because I honestly believe, I don't think terrorists really target one religion.
Absolutely. Many Muslims,
of course.
People from Jews had died as well. So it was not as if...
so I think it's about inhumanness, and which is what I honestly thought that.
A few more things. I believe the censors have passed the film with a UA certificate?
No, with an
with an A certificate as such. Okay, and somewhere you feel that maybe the youth of the country, they will just miss out, because you also said at the music launch that many documentaries have been made, books have been written, but this is maybe the first authentic documentation of what really happened, and this is for mass media, for multitude of people as such. So do you think maybe youngsters may miss out on watching it, or is it too gruesome?
My point is, I mean, I can't comment on what are the regulations, where they come from, the censor regulations. Yes, it is a violent film, because terrorism is to deal with violence, and if I'm capturing to the truest extent what happened in those attacks, it is bound to have visual imagery which could be disturbing by definition of the censor.
Right.
But I would like to believe that has been strongly balanced out by the emotional aspect of it, because it creates a very strong, I wouldn't like to use the word message, because message I don't think I like to use that word, but I would think an emotional quotient what you will get by the time you finish the film, I think far outweighs the violent imagery. But of course censors have their own guidelines, but at the end of the day, once there is content out there, in whichever medium, anybody who wants to watch it will get to see it eventually.
Once again, now we are seeing the promos, we're seeing the song as well. Do you feel that maybe there can be certain visuals that can be just that can affect the fabric of the nation? Because we've had a Vishwarupan recently, and that had a lot of the entire hullabaloo and the controversy was created. Once you see the film, it's something which is.
I haven't seen Vishwarupan, but I would say the difference is, Vishwarupan is a fictional film, okay, and there would be fictional characters and scenes, whatever they might have stood for, whichever people got offended or whatever the reasons are.
Right.
Whereas in 2611, it's a documented truth. It's not something which is fiction. I'm not suggesting a conspiracy theory. I'm not getting into blame games in the film. This is something which happened, which is not disputed about who's done it and what had happened. So as long as I'm only taking from the authentic sources, like the highest authorized person, like the Bombay police, and the charge sheet, the judgment, or the eyewitness accounts were present there, my whole intention, Faridoon, is to capture what happened between 9:30 and 1 o'clock on the night of 26/11. That's what the film focuses on for nearly
the entire surprise element.
Not only a surprise.
Because after that, the reality had set in.
Yeah, I wouldn't say surprise, and I am more talking about the fact that there was a. I mean, we know CST was attacked at a certain time, right? But if the audience happened to be in CST at the time, and they are seeing it firsthand in front of their eyes what happened, that is what I try to actually primarily capture in the film.
Right.
So if they're at the same time with the cops at the various places were attacked, and of course with the terrorist group, so it almost follows for a want of a better word, a disaster film format, where you are right in the midst of what's happening.
At the music launch, I think you had a few of the victims as such.
Yeah.
One guy, I think he's a reporter with Reuters, I believe, and how he was hit from behind, and he was having a girl who's made a film on Mumbai, and a French girl basically, and the entire situation and what really happened, and how he was held by a person. So all these stories, when you just see firsthand, it fills you with a sense of
dread.
that dread, because I still remember what really happened. I was at home at that point of time in 2008, and all the memories start churning up immediately. All the rumors and all the confusion start churning up. What exactly do you think as a viewer people will be having as such? It's not really entertainment. People do like to see these sort of cinema. There is a brand of cinema which people would want to see such sort of stuff with blood and gore and all. But what exactly do you think should be the sentiment? How do you want to prepare the audience as such?
I somehow think...
You say it's not a documentary.
No, it's not a documentary. See, documentary, I would define it as it informs. I mean, it informs visually, probably very effectively these days, Whereas a feature film, what it does, it gives an emotional perspective in whichever particular element the director chooses to do. Now, you can make 100 films out of 26/11 and still not touch the surface of what all can be done. For example, you can probably concentrate on one particular staff member at the Taj Hotel and to see the whole thing from his point of view. Likewise, maybe a cop who's gone into the Taj after hearing of the attack and what happened between him and the terrorists in those 4 hours before help arrived. So you can take like this any element and make a film out of it in the background. What interested me was the fact that there was a city and there was a group of people came to attack, and the responsibility of the security of the city lies in the hands of let's say the Joint Commissioner of Crime, who's the highest authority on that particular aspect, which happens to be Rakesh Maria. So a committee was formed to basically look into the lapses of how the police and the administration responded to the attacks.
Right.
Now, what happened in the committee, how they were told, how the committee was told about the unfolding of the events. So it is one person narrating what happened on that night. That I thought was a very interesting angle, because when I cannot encompass the whole happening in let's say in 2 hours of a normal feature film's length, so I can take a narrative jump using this kind of a structure. So we hear the story of what happened that night from the mouth of the Joint Commissioner of Police when he is telling the committee about how it unfolded. So I only took things which were relevant to that part.
Right.
So there's no NSG operation, for example, in 26/11, because NSG operation started the next day, morning around 7 o'clock, and pretty much everyone knows what happened. What attracted me most, Faridoon, was the sense of urgency. I mean, the police were caught by the time they could prepare, they could know what's happening. Like, I had this very interesting line which he told me. He said, as a police, we always arrive upon the scene after the crime has been committed. For the first time that night, we were facing a crime which was in progress, and it was getting bigger, and we never had the training to deal with something like that, which comes as a surprise, because in the US and all that, there will be SWAT teams which are probably trained only for this purpose, to handle crimes which are in progress. Right. But in an urban city, a crime happening right under an event of that extent happening right under the nose of the police, there is no example for that. There's no instance which ever happened. There could be a sudden blast which happened in 93 serial blast, which means the crime has already been committed. The investigation started after that.
Of minutes, in fact.
So in 26/11, the crime started getting bigger. And then they are not the people who run away when the police comes. They are the guys who are fighting back, or firing back actually, and with much more sophisticated weapons than what the police had. So to see that is a problem. Like, one person told me, like a guy in Leopold Cafe, he told me he saw cops throwing stones into the... I thought it was an incredible visual for me to see cops throwing stones, but they didn't have guns. What are they supposed to do? But in spite of that, as a cop, he responded, which is what I think commendable thing. Like, if you're facing a guy with a AK-56 assault rifle, and then you're still trying to, in your own way,
do something
about it, was incredible. So many moments like this is which inspired me.
The sad part is that the situation is still not changed. We are still sitting ducks, in fact. That is the sad part.
My point is, then I would like to believe that could be the truth, but my point is, it's so easy to blame. What can one do?
Malls, they don't check you properly. You go to any station. I travel in local trains.
But
there's absolutely
that's
no...
true, but my question is, it is so easy to say that, but how can one do that? My point is that you look at the population, you look at the length of the coastline, you look at the sheer number of people. Now, I was taking all that. You see, I am saying, so I am not trying to support.
We don't get the life, actually, honestly. And the kind of security, it is possible, sir. If it is.
See, what I'm trying to say, I believe everyone gets what they deserve. We know the level of our infrastructure in any kind of a department, even the people for that matter, are disciplined and emotional outbursts without any logic. Why would the police be far ahead, different? We all would be more or less in the same chain.
Minimum, I think, thing that is required from a police force is that they have to be fit as such. Most of the police guys, they are pot-bellied. They are hardly like athletic from any way whatsoever. You make them run 100 meters, they won't be able to run. So how will they just combat any...
What you said, everything was there in the US. They had the bulletproof vests and far more sophisticated thing, and they couldn't stop the 9/11. Yeah. So I don't think that is going to.
They did not let it happen. The problem is.
But my question is,
here in India,
in 93, the World Trade Center bombing happened. In spite of the 2001 plane attacks happened. So it's only true till the next attack happens, because the terrorist's biggest weapon is suppressed, and you will never know where it will come from, and you can't be prepared for it.
Okay. Now the news is that apparently you have sung a song in 26/11.
That's for the Telugu version.
Okay.
I sang, because earlier also I sang a song in Telugu which became a big hit. But I am not a singer.
Okay, so
it's just like some kind of a
that
mood.
Is breaking news.
I try to
Gopal Varma has that is in the Telugu version. Why not in the Hindi version?
I can't speak Hindi properly.
You can speak Hindi very well.
No, I can speak, but
we have not kept in the Hindi version. In the Telugu version, it is there. And apart from Hindi, there are Telugu version. Tamil is there as well?
No.
Only Telugu?
Only Telugu and Hindi.
Telugu and
right,
Hindi.
no, and we're going to release Tamil later.
And Gopal Varma has sung a Telugu version. At the later part of this program, we'll be showing you that.